Now I think SEBI is also going to permit debt issuances also to be kind of listed in the IFSC. In fact, we are in the process of submitting our listing framework and disclosure framework to SEBI, which will again create some capital market and capital raising kind of platform, both for Indian issuers and also be a good platform for foreign investors to engage with us. Foreign investors are allowed in equity products or equity derivative products, but they're not allowed in the commodity products. And we have gold, which is a pretty significant global commodity of which India is a big user. And if I can look at what Mr. Modi said, probably gold is one of the things which we really should gun for to become actually a price setter. But today, obviously, we know that COMEX is the leader by far. The whole world takes the price from them. And we think this is the product where probably we could attract serious attention because there are a lot of trading volumes already happening there. As we speak on a daily basis, we see about $50 to $60 million of trading, out of which bulk of it happens in gold and the rest of it mainly happens in the Sensex 50 benchmark index.
Well, if I could ask you, as you're rightly pointing out, two things. One, there are indications that perhaps FPIs will be allowed in the commodity derivatives. The government or the finance ministry is also of the same view. What are the indications? How soon could we get that clearance? And perhaps, as you're saying, 50 to 60 million at this point of time is your trade volumes. Come FY18, any targets that you have set for yourself?
So, incidentally, on May 2nd, 2017, we actually reached we crossed the $100 million trading mark. I think what we are seeing is a steady actually increase in our participants, both in terms of foreign participants as well as Indian participants. At this point of time, I think the Indian participants are just not permitted except financial institutions. But again, there has to be a lot more clarity in terms of the operating guidelines which has to be issued both by SEBI and RBI in terms of allowing Indian financial institutions like mutual funds, the NBFC companies and so on and so forth to be able to participate here. I'm sure SEBI is also working on it and they are pretty much aware of that and they are doing it in a calibrated way.
And on the commodities front?
On the commodities front, I think we got the products now in place. We are still waiting for the crude oil and natural gas product approval, which I think with whatever conversations I've been having with our regulator, I think it's in the last final lap of finalization at their end, and it should probably come through very shortly. But in terms of the foreign participants to be allowed in commodity derivatives, we are still waiting for some clarity from SEBI, which in turn has actually probably sorted from both RBI and the ministry. And from whatever indications which I got in terms of whatever communication which have been happening, I'm very hopeful that SEBI will take a positive decision on this very shortly.
And finally, if I could ask you, as you're rightly pointing out, perhaps for the first time we are witnessing an exchange operating for 22 hours a day. From a domestic perspective, the debate has started whether equity market timing should be increased. But say for a player like you, which is primarily now linked to the international market and primarily attracting international institutional investors, what difference would it make, or is it time where we have to look where with these exchanges in India, the local stock exchange equity market timing also needs to be aligned?
See, that's a debate which probably has to be played out in India. But from international centers perspective, I think this debate is very clearly settled. All international centers actually work around the clock. And that is what makes them really tick. If you look at the big cities, whether it's New York, London, Hong Kong, Singapore, all these places, you will find that they all work 24 hours, even Dubai.